You know what really separates a junior developer from a senior? A lot of the time, it's how they think about the invisible connections, the things that actually power our digital world. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the key principles of API design that really show what senior-level thinking is all about. Let's dive in.
So, let me ask you a big question right off the bat. What's the secret to building truly great software? Is it the flashy user interface? The killer features?
Well, the thing is, it's actually something you can't even see. The real secret sauce, the magic, is in that invisible architecture that connects everything. It's the silent framework that makes it all just work.
And that architecture, that blueprint for our digital building, that's what we call an API. And honestly, it's the absolute foundation of all modern software.
An API, or Application Programming Interface, is basically a contract. Yeah, a contract. It spells out, in no uncertain terms, the rules for how different pieces of software are allowed to talk to one another. It defines exactly what requests you can make, what you're going to get back, and how that whole conversation is supposed to go.
So why is this so powerful? Well, a great API does two absolutely crucial things. First, it acts as an abstraction. It hides all the complex, messy code behind the scenes. You don't need to know how the server actually saves your data. You just need to know you can use the API to tell it to do so. And second, it sets these really clear boundaries, which lets totally different systems, maybe one's written in Java, another in Python, communicate perfectly.
Okay, so you know you need an API. Now what? The next huge decision you have to make is picking its architectural style. So let's look at the two big players on the field today, REST and GraphQL.
Let's think of it like grabbing a snack. A REST API? That's kind of like a vending machine. You ask for item B4, and you get the entire bag of chips, whether you wanted all of them or not. It's predictable, it's structured. GraphQL, on the other hand, that's like ordering from a personal chef. You can be super specific. I want just the chips, a couple of pretzels, and hey, throw in one piece of chocolate. And you get exactly that, all on one plate. It's incredibly flexible and way more efficient.
And this right here, wow, this just lays it all out so clearly. To get a user, their posts, and their followers with a REST API, you're probably looking at 3 separate requests. That's 3 round trips to the server. With GraphQL, you can bundle all of that into one single powerful query. For really complex apps and user interfaces, this is an absolute game changer.
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you choose REST or GraphQL. There are these universal building codes that apply to any great API. These are the rules that make sure your foundation is strong and stable.
Any senior engineer will tell you that a solid API rests on these 4 pillars. First up, consistency. If an API is predictable, it's easy to use. Simple as that. Second, simplicity. Don't try to make it do everything. Focus on the core things it needs to do and keep it from getting too complex. Third, and this is a big one, security. This is completely non-negotiable. One little breach can destroy trust forever. And finally, performance. Nobody wants to use a slow app, and a slow API is a recipe for a bad experience. Mastering these 4 is really the mark of great design.
Okay, let's zoom in on that security pillar for a second, because it's so important. Securing an API is a lot like installing a security system in that digital building we talked about, and it always starts with 2 fundamental checks.
The very first step is authentication. All this process does is answer one simple question. Who are you? It's all about proving a user's identity. You can think of it like the bouncer at the front door of a club, checking your ID before they let you inside. Right? So you're in the door. But that's not the end of the story. Next up is authorization, which asks, okay, now that you're in, what are you allowed to do? Just because you're in the building doesn't mean you can go into every room. Authorization is like your key card. It gives you access to specific floors, but keeps other doors locked.
But senior-level thinking goes way beyond just the front door. We also have to harden our API defenses with some more advanced alarms and locks to protect against all the common ways people might try to break in. This means we've got to add layers of defense. For instance, rate limiting is like having a guard at the door who prevents any single person from just flooding the system with too many requests all at once. And you have to be super careful about the data you let in. Techniques like input sanitization act as a filter, cleaning up anything a user types in to stop common hacking attempts, like someone trying to sneak malicious code into a search bar. It's all about building a fortress, not just a front door.
You know, when you boil it all down, all these principles we've talked about, consistency, simplicity, security, they're all aiming for one ultimate goal. The source material I was looking at puts it perfectly. The best API is one that developers can use without even reading the documentation. It should be so intuitive that it just feels right.
So, as we wrap up, I'll leave you with a question to think about for your own projects. Is your app's front door clearly marked and easy to use? Or is it a confusing maze for anyone who visits? The answer to that question says a whole lot about the true quality of its design.